Hey, welcome back to 3 poses a day for 30 days to relax the pelvic floor. I'm Tracy, and today we will be standing, squatting, and pushing our hands into the floor. So a little more dynamic than sometimes we tend to be. First posture will be standing with a single leg raise. We will transition to a yogi squat, and then we will close with a little bit of downward dog. The only props you might need today would be blocks. And by might, I mean you definitely want one for the yoga squat. So pause the video, grab your gear, and we'll get started. All right, first posture seems so straightforward, but is really good for the pelvic floor. I invite you to stand nice and tall. Make sure the pelvis is in neutral. Maybe rock the hips back and forth a few times, rotating the pelvis, and making sure you have a natural curve in the lumbar spine. We will shift the weight to the left leg and raise the right knee to up to 90 degrees if you can. A few things. You can hold on to something to keep you upright if you're losing your balance. You have the option of taking a block and just resting the foot on a block, keeping the feet hip distance apart. Or, honestly, you could just stand here lifting the heel. The key is, as you're lifting that right leg, the hips are staying level parallel to the floor, which is going to help you stretch the pelvic floor muscles. So find what works best for you today, and we'll get started. Everyone, nice and tall through the spine, the entire posture. Shift the weight to the left and raise the right foot. And we're here for 6 breaths. Hands at the hips, up if you want some intensity, or even heart center. Make sure the belly's moving with every breath. One more inhale. And on the exhale, gently release the leg back down. Wiggle the legs, shake them out if you need to, and we'll switch to the other side. So now we shift the weight to the right. We'll inhale, filling the belly with air. And exhale, raise the left foot. We're here for 6 breaths. Make them good ones. Make sure the hips stay level. And sorry if my breath is too slow. My mom's always yelling at me, breathe faster. But at least she keeps coming, so that's good, right? One more inhale. And on the exhale, release the leg back to the ground. Shake it off, and we will move into our yogi squat. Now, with the yogi squat, you definitely want to use a block. We'll set that on the ground. Wide legs, just a little more than hip distance apart to start, and then we will squat down. Now, it's super important here that you are definitely in front of the sits bones. If you're not, you start to roll the back and you're throwing everything out of alignment with the pelvis. So kick that booty back, make sure you're in front of the sits bones, and this should be, hopefully, a safe squat for most people dealing with pelvic floor concerns. So I'm nice and tall through the spine. I'm in front of the sits bones. My palms will come to heart center, and I'll use my elbows to help keep those legs pressing out. All right, feel free to join me. Get into your posture. Make sure the tailbone's pointed back and toward the back of the head, which is pretty easy when you're in front of the sits bones. And we'll be here for 6 deep breaths. Remember, every inhale, the chest rises, the rib cage expands, and the belly expands down to the pelvic floor. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we can release, and we will transition into downward dog. Now, in downward dog, you can use your blocks as support by pressing them up against a wall and setting your hands on top of them, but it is totally optional. It just depends on how your body feels today. So with or without the blocks, your hands should be in front of you. The knees should be hip distance apart, and when you're coming into the posture, I want you to focus on really bending the knees so that you have the motion of the pelvis, meaning we're going to kick the tailbone back and extend the spine so it's nice and straight. If you straighten the legs too much and you're not ready, the spine starts to round, the tailbone starts to tuck, and it's not as great for stretching your pelvic floor. So let's come into this together. Make sure you're nice and relaxed to start. Feet are hip distance apart. I'm out of breath. Give me a second. Inhale deeply. Exhale, use the arms to help press the booty back. Bend the knees. Rotate the tailbone toward the back of the head. And find a nice, comfortable position. And we'll be here for 6 breaths. Relax the neck. Really focus on feeling the belly press down toward the legs with the inhale. One more inhale. On the exhale, very gently bring the knees to the floor. Spread the knees wide and come into a really quick child's pose to release any tension in the back. Arms are active, tailbone still pulling toward the back of the head. And we won't stay here. You can use your hands to press yourself back to a seated position. And that is the end of your 3 postures for today. That's class 23. Tomorrow's class 24. I'm so excited, and I hope this is going well for you. Thanks for coming. I hope you're feeling great. Be well. Namaste.